It's been a long time since I last did a lore video, so I think a perfect time to do one is now. And I feel like a lot of people do not give enough love to Rebecca Chambers, so I think this is a perfect time to give you her whole history in the Resident Evil franchise. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my history of Rebecca Chambers. Let's get this started.
Before we start this video, I want to thank my homies Boots and Host Skate30 for being members of the channel. If you guys want to be members of the channel, please click the join button right next to the subscribe button. Rebecca was born in 1989. And what's funny is the creator of Resident Evil, Shinji Mikami, actually really hates this character. Rebecca went to college and got her bachelor's degree in chemistry at the age of 18. After college, she ended up joining the Special Tactics and Rescue Service in the RPD. Rebecca joined the Bravo team as the unit's medic and rear security. Another thing is that she's a really big basketball fan and actually joined the RPD basketball team. Around the time Rebecca joined the RPD, there was a lot of cannibalistic murders that happened in the Arklay Mountain. And because there was no suspects, they have to give the case to STARS. So on July 23rd, Bravo team got sent out to the Arklay Mountains. Soon after, the helicopter they were riding on was experiencing a bunch of engine problems,
And they were forced to land.
when they were going through the forest, the team discovered a wrecked military vehicle. It was transporting Marine 2nd Lieutenant Billy Cullen, who was set for execution. Billy Cullen was not among the dead bodies that was around the vehicle, so Bravo team decided to go look for him. Bravo team decided to split up to look for Billy. The majority of the team ended up going to Spencer's mansion, but Rebecca found a private train called the Ecliptic Express owned by Umbrella. Rebecca figured out that everyone on the train was a zombie because they got infected by leeches earlier. Billy was on the train and agreed to work with Rebecca to escape, but refused to hand himself in. The train was soon after commanded by the Delta team of Umbrella Security Service, but they were attacked by leeches, but they ended up powering up the train. The train was out of control, so Rebecca and Billy had to use the brakes.
Unfortunately, the train still got derailed.
So the two ended up going to this training facility and laboratory where we find out a bunch of Umbrella lore, especially one about a person
Who has the same name as the leader of Alpha Team.
going through their adventures. Rebecca started having doubts about Billy, that he even did any of those murders that he was accused of. Billy got accused of killing 23 innocent people because his squad thought that they were a terrorist group, and they made Billy the scapegoat. Exploring more, they ended up finding an underground gondola. Unfortunately, they got attacked and Billy got pushed over and fell in the water. While Rebecca was on her own, she ended up finding her captain Enrico and was told to go to the rendezvous point, but ended up getting permission to go find Billy. After Rebecca defeating the tyrant, she ended up finding Billy in the water below. At that point, these two wanted to basically leave alive. Those two ended up finding director James Marcus, and for some reason he was very young. James Marcus explains that he got killed by Umbrella and his students Albert and William. His dead body merged with the leash that he was working with, and for 10 years was planning revenge on Umbrella. After a difficult fight against James Marcus, they realized that he was really weak to sunlight. So they ended up killing Marcus with a magnum and some sunlight, and of course, escaping from a self-destruct system. After all that, Rebecca takes Billy's dog tags and she's gonna make a false report claiming that Billy Collins has died. They both salute each other, they go off their separate ways, and Rebecca goes to the rendezvous point that her captain told her to go to earlier. Rebecca reached the mansion later that day and she realized the whole entire mansion was empty, so she decided to fall asleep in one of the bedrooms. Later on, another member of Bravo team named Richard went and woke up Rebecca and said that they had to go find Enrico. While doing their search, they both realized that the mansion incident and what happened with the Arklay Mountains murder are both connected in some way, shape, or form.
The enemies were too much for them.
So they had to go break into the mansion. They end up finding the snake that they've been dealing with the entire story. The snake attacked Rebecca, but Richard shoved her just in time and attacked him instead. They had managed to escape, but Richard was heavily wounded. Rebecca was found by a member of Alpha Team named Chris Redfield, who was sent to rescue Bravo Team.
And they all eventually realized that the guy who's been killing all the STARS members in the mansion was the Alpha Team leader, Albert Wesker.
While Wesker's telling about his master plan and talking about his tyrant, the tyrant awakens and stabs Wesker through the chest.
So Chris and another member of Alpha Team, Jill Valentine, both fought the tyrant,
and they try to escape as quickly as possible. Rebecca activates the self-destruct sequence on the mansion. The entire group tries to run to the helipad, but unfortunately the tyrant that Chris and Jill both defeated came back to life. With all hope lost, the Alpha Team's pilot Brad Vickers came by just in time with a rocket launcher so they could finish this once and for all. After being hospitalized, she went back to work and wrote a report saying that Billy Collins has died. and she managed to leave Raccoon City right before the T-virus outbreak. In 2005, the T-virus strain spread from St. Cloud, Minnesota and Rochester, Minnesota. Rebecca was there in defense, and she ended up meeting a police officer named Tyler Howard. By this point, Rebecca ended up working with the BSAA, and she also got her doctorates. In 2010, Rebecca became a university lecturer alongside working with the BSAA. She was ordered to infiltrate Philosophy University in Western Australia, as there have been a lot of people being missing, and the BSAA believes it's related to bioweaponry. So Rebecca started investigating, and her first suspect was Dr. Liam Howard. Liam Howard had the same name as an Umbrella researcher who disappeared in 2003. Unfortunately, the investigation did not go through because of the T-virus outbreak. And because of that, the BSAA had to show up, which was Chris Redfield, Pierce Nivens, and Sophia Holmes. They all figured out that Dr. Howard was actually critically insane and tried to experiment on all the students. But unfortunately, all the students became zombies, except for one of Rebecca's students, Mary Gray. All this was to bring back his son, Tyler Howard, from earlier, who wasn't dead, that he believed that he died back in 2005. But the true culprit of this outbreak was Mary Gray, who was very intelligent because her body adapted to the T-virus for many years. She wanted to restart the entire world, so the entire squad ended up killing her, with Chris shooting the final blow. Around 2013, there was a new virus going around that Rebecca's been trying to look for a cure for. But the institute that Rebecca was doing her research at got attacked by a woman named Maria Gomez. Chris Redfield and his BSA soldiers came in time to save Rebecca. They found out that the virus has similar bores to Las Plagas, so they had to contact the only person that actually dealt with Las Plagas, which was DSO agent Leon Scott Kennedy. Rebecca revealed that there was already a virus spreading out amongst people, it just needed a trigger. Frustrated about Leon's and Chris's negative attitude, Maria and her husband Diego ended up kidnapping Rebecca. Rebecca wakes up and she ends up meeting Glenn Aries, the guy who's responsible with the bioterrorist attack. Aries reveals that he wants Rebecca to be his dead fiance because they look very similar. Rebecca refuses to wear the wedding band, and in doing so, Aries decides to replace Rebecca's entire arm with his fiance's arm. And the virus that's been involved in the entire story was the A virus, and Aries made a stronger version of that virus and he was going to use it on Rebecca. The entire time, Leon and Chris were on a rescue mission getting Rebecca. Chris saved Rebecca and they ran off to the roof where Aries was there waiting for them. Rebecca's there lying down dying while Chris, Leon, and everybody else was getting involved with the fight, even to the point where Aries mutates. After a long intense battle, they were able to defeat Aries and they were able to kill Rebecca before it's too late. In 2014, San Francisco started getting a bunch of infections and a bunch of murders happening there. Rebecca joins Chris and Jill to figure out what's happening with all this. Rebecca went to go examine the bodies and she realized that all the bodies had needle injections on it. And every one of them had the T-virus, but it wasn't passed through saliva or it wasn't airborne. And then Claire shows up and tells them her side of the story. There was a chipped orca around the Greater Ferados National Marine Sanctuary, and his carcass was found on the beach near the area, with a big bite mark on it. Also, 30 miles away in Alcatraz, there was a bunch of whales there that went missing. And they found out that the orca had the same exact T-virus as the bodies did. Then Rebecca figured out that the murder victims all had something in common. All of them went to go visit Alcatraz. So everybody decided to go to the visiting tour in Alcatraz while Rebecca stayed behind to go find a cure for this virus. Rebecca lost contact with all of them. Rebecca figured out that Leon was actually in Alcatraz, so she contacted FOS agent Ingrid Hunnigan. Hunnigan informs Rebecca that the whole database got hacked and they stole a bunch of information about the people that were involved with Raccoon City, aka Chris, Claire, Leon, and Jill. And because of that, Rebecca went out to go save them. She bumps into Jill and Jill tells her that Leon, Claire, and Chris got infected to go cure them. Rebecca cures them and all four of them head to the armory where they confront Dylan, the main antagonist of this movie. Dylan had a plan and his plan was to release mini drones, mosquito drones, and let them out in the world with the T-virus strain. Dylan injected himself with the virus and fused with the BOW shark. Now it becomes this big action scene. During all that, Leon tells Claire and Rebecca to stop the release of the mosquito drones. So they both do that, they both work on the computer, and Rebecca had this idea, instead of stopping the mosquito drones, why not use it on Dylan? And that seemed to be a great idea because Dylan got weaker every time he got injected by the virus. And Jill, Leon, and Chris finished Dylan once and for all.
And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't heard anything about Rebecca canonically in 9 years, since 2015. So it's about time for Capcom to use her in some way, shape, or form. Maybe a game. We kind of need a Rebecca game right now. But that'll be it for today. I hope you guys really enjoyed this lore video, and I have plans to make more lore videos in the future. But always remember to click the subscribe button, leave a like, and always leave a comment. So without further ado, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I'm out. Deuces.